The data packet that changed everything arrived at 3:42 a.m. on a Tuesday, containing evidence of what appeared to be artificial structures on Pluto's moon Charon. Dr. Elena Reyes dropped her coffee mug, watching it shatter across the observatory floor as the implications crashed through her mind like a tidal wave. 20 years after New Horizons had first revealed Pluto's heart to humanity, the aging spacecraft's final transmission before permanent shutdown had captured something impossible, geometric patterns that defied natural explanation. If confirmed, everything humanity believed about our place in the cosmos would be forever altered. But with New Horizons power systems failing and no replacement mission funded, this might be humanity's only glimpse of what waited at the edge of our solar system, a mystery that burned through Elena's thoughts as she frantically began making calls that would wake the scientific community from its slumber. "We have 48 hours, Elena whispered to her assembled team, her voice breaking as she projected the images onto the wall of the hastily arranged emergency meeting. 48 hours before New Horizons goes dark forever, taking with it our only chance to confirm what we're seeing." The room fell silent as the scientists stared at the patterns, too regular, too precise to be explained by known geological processes. Elena's 13-year career at NASA had been building to this moment, but so had her marriage, which had collapsed under the weight of her obsession with the outer solar system. Now, with her ex-husband threatening to move their daughter across the country, Elena faced the impossible choice between witnessing humanity's greatest discovery and losing her last connection to her child. As dawn broke over the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the team began the desperate race to extract every last bit of data from a spacecraft 9 billion kilometers away. The first breakthrough came when Dr. Marcus Chen, the mission's imaging specialist, isolated a sequence of reflections that appeared to follow a mathematical pattern. "It's like they're signaling," he said, his voice barely audible over the hum of the computers. "But who would be out there? And why Charon?" The team worked through the night, piecing together fragments of data as New Horizons' failing system sent increasingly corrupted transmissions. Elena hadn't slept in 36 hours when her phone buzzed, her daughter's school, calling to ask why no one had picked her up. In that moment, standing in the control room with humanity's greatest discovery unfolding before her, Elena made a choice that would haunt her for years to come. She left the lab, racing across town to find her 10-year-old daughter sitting alone on the school steps, small backpack clutched to her chest. "I thought you forgot about me," Sophia whispered as Elena pulled her into a tight embrace, tears streaming down both their faces. That night, as Sophia slept, Elena set up her laptop at the kitchen table, remotely connecting to the lab systems. The data continued to pour in, each transmission more tantalizing than the last. But when the final image arrived, showing what appeared to be a doorway carved into Charon's icy surface, Elena's remote connection suddenly failed. Frantic calls to the lab went unanswered. By morning, news reports confirmed her worst fears: a catastrophic server failure had corrupted the final transmissions. The evidence was gone, and Elena had missed the moment of discovery. 3 months later, Elena stood before the International Astronomical Congress, her career in shambles. The scientific community had largely dismissed the Charon anomalies as imaging artifacts, and Elena's insistence on their authenticity had made her an outcast. "I'm not here to convince you," she told the skeptical audience. "I'm here to announce the Charon Initiative." Behind her, the screen displayed the ambitious plan she had developed, a private mission to the Pluto system, funded by a consortium of tech billionaires fascinated by the possibility of extraterrestrial structures. As murmurs spread through the audience, Elena revealed the mission's commander, herself. "We launch in 18 months, she declared. "And I'm asking for volunteers." The announcement sparked international controversy. Traditional space agencies dismissed the mission as foolhardy and wasteful, a 9-year journey based on corrupted data and wishful thinking. Elena's ex-husband filed for full custody, arguing that her extended absence would be detrimental to Sophia's development. As the legal battles intensified and funding threatened to collapse, Elena found an unexpected ally in Dr. James Watanabe, the original New Horizons mission director, now in his 70s and battling terminal cancer. "I've studied every pixel New Horizons ever sent back," he told her during a private meeting at his home. "And I need to show you something I've kept hidden for 20 years. What Watanabe revealed that evening changed everything. A series of anomalies detected during New Horizons' original Pluto flyby in 2015, systematically buried in mission reports at NASA's insistence. They were afraid," he explained, his hands trembling as he displayed the classified images. "Afraid of public panic, afraid of religious backlash, afraid of what it meant for funding priorities." The evidence suggested that the Pluto system had been visited before, not by aliens, but by humans. The implications were staggering. Either time travel was possible, or human civilization was far older and more advanced than anyone had imagined. With his dying breath, Watanabe made Elena promise to discover the truth, whatever it might be. Armed with Watanabe's evidence, Elena secured the mission's funding and assembled her crew, a diverse team of scientists, engineers, and one unexpected addition, her now 13-year-old daughter, Sophia. "If you're going to be gone for 18 years, Sophia had argued, then I'm coming with you." The legal battle that followed captured global attention, eventually resulting in an unprecedented court decision. Sophia would join the mission as part of an educational initiative, becoming the youngest person ever to leave Earth orbit. As the launch date approached, mother and daughter trained together, their relationship healing through shared purpose and the awesome responsibility before them. The Charon initiative launched on a clear morning in May 2027, carrying humanity's hopes and Elena's personal redemption. The revolutionary plasma drive would cut the journey time to Pluto nearly in half compared to New Horizons, but it would still be 5 years before they reached their destination. As Earth shrank to a pale blue dot behind them, the crew settled into the rhythm of deep space travel. Elena established a daily routine of scientific work and education for Sophia, who blossomed in the zero-gravity environment. Their video logs became the most watched content on Earth, inspiring a new generation of space enthusiasts and rekindling humanity's romance with the unknown. 3 years into the mission, disaster struck. A micrometeoroid shower damaged the ship's communication array, cutting off regular contact with Earth. For 6 terrifying weeks, the crew worked to repair the systems, knowing that failure meant isolation in the void between worlds. It was Sophia, with her smaller hands and intuitive understanding of the ship's systems, who finally restored the connection. When her face appeared on screens back on Earth, billions cheered. The teenager had become a symbol of human ingenuity and courage, her coming-of-age story unfolding against the backdrop of the greatest journey in human history. As they passed Neptune's orbit, the final stretch of their journey began. The crew's excitement was tempered by growing tension. Strange energy readings emanated from the Pluto system, unlike anything predicted by their models. Elena found herself standing at Sophia's bedroom door each night, watching her daughter sleep and wondering if she had made the right choice bringing her into the unknown. The ship's psychologist noted increasing stress levels among the crew, manifesting in vivid dreams and occasional hallucinations. Something about the outer darkness was affecting them all, a phenomenon they dubbed the whisper. When Elena began hearing her late father's voice in the ship's ambient noise, she kept it to herself, afraid of undermining confidence in her leadership. The Charon initiative entered Pluto's orbit on New Year's Day, 2032, exactly 20 years after New Horizons' historic flyby. The first high-resolution images confirmed Elena's vindication. The structures were real, their geometric precision undeniable. But as the ship moved into position for the first close approach to Charon, the crew made a discovery that left them speechless. The doorway had opened. What waited beyond that threshold would challenge humanity's understanding of not just our place in the universe, but the very nature of time and consciousness itself. The expedition to the surface of Charon became the most watched event in human history. Elena led the team, with Sophia monitoring systems from orbit, a compromise that had taken months of negotiation between mother and daughter. As the landing craft descended through Charon's thin atmosphere, the structures revealed themselves to be more extensive than anyone had imagined, a complex of tunnels and chambers extending deep into the moon's interior. At the entrance to the main chamber, Elena discovered a plaque bearing an inscription in multiple languages, including perfect English: to those who follow, from those who came before. Inside, they found not alien technology, but human artifacts, advanced beyond current capabilities, yet recognizably from Earth. Carbon dating placed them approximately 300 years in the future. Among the artifacts was a message, explaining that the outpost had been established by human refugees fleeing a catastrophic solar event. They had used experimental time displacement technology to send warning and crucial scientific data back through time, hoping to prevent the disaster. The final piece of the puzzle was a quantum data core containing detailed plans for a solar shield that could save Earth from the coming storm, a storm due to begin in 2041, just 9 years after the discovery. The return journey to Earth became a desperate race against time. With the fate of humanity resting on their shoulders, the crew pushed their ship beyond its design limits, shaving months off their return trajectory. Elena and Sophia worked side by side, decoding the quantum data and preparing the implementation plans that would need to begin immediately upon their return. Their relationship deepened through shared purpose, the teenager now a full partner in humanity's most important mission. When Sophia discovered the critical flaw in the shield design that had doomed the original timeline, Elena realized that her daughter's unique perspective, raised between worlds, educated beyond traditional constraints, might be the key difference that would save humanity. As Earth grew from a distant star to a blue marble in their viewports, Elena faced her final challenge. The quantum data contained one last revelation: the time displacement technology had created a paradox. If they succeeded in preventing the solar catastrophe, the future refugees would never have needed to establish the Charon outpost, potentially erasing all evidence of their discovery. Elena would be returning to a world that might never believe what she had found, her vindication potentially wiped from history by her own success. The choice before her was stark: secure her legacy by withholding crucial information, or save humanity and risk being forgotten, or worse, discredited once again. The Charon initiative returned to Earth orbit in late 2035, greeted as heroes. The implementation of the solar shield began immediately, a massive international effort that united humanity in common purpose. Elena presented the evidence of the time paradox to the United Nations, explaining that their success might erase the very proof that had spurred them to action. In a historic address, she asked humanity to remember, even if the physical evidence disappeared, to keep the story alive through cultural memory, art, and education. The documentary project, The Year of Pluto, became the centerpiece of this effort, a living record updated annually to preserve the truth regardless of temporal shifts. 5 years later, as the solar shield neared completion, the first evidence of the paradox manifested. The structures on Charon began to fade from telescope images, becoming indistinct and eventually vanishing altogether. Elena watched from the observation deck of the International Space Station as the last visual confirmation of her discovery disappeared. Beside her stood Sophia, now 23, and leading her own research team focused on temporal physics. Was it worth it? Elena asked, her voice barely audible. Saving everyone at the cost of being believed? Sophia took her mother's hand, pointing to Earth below them. Look at what we built together, she said. Not just the shield, but the unity. That's your legacy. In 2046, 20 years after New Horizons' final transmission and 15 years after the Charon Initiative's discovery, humanity gathered to witness the solar event that might have ended civilization. The shield performed perfectly, transforming what would have been catastrophic radiation into a spectacular aurora that encircled the planet. Elena, now in her 60s and serving as Secretary General of the United Nations Space Agency, watched from the lunar observation post named in her honor. The paradox had completed its cycle, the physical evidence was gone, but humanity remembered. The Charon Initiative had become legend, taught in schools and universities worldwide, its story preserved through the documentary series that continued to chronicle humanity's journey to the stars. As Elena prepared to step down from public service, she reflected on the journey that had defined her life. The choice she had made in that control room decades earlier, to leave the discovery for her daughter, had set in motion events that saved humanity. Her personal sacrifice had become humanity's salvation, a reminder that our connections to each other matter more than any discovery. In her final address, broadcast across Earth and to the colonies now established throughout the solar system, Elena shared the lesson that had guided her through darkness and light: the greatest exploration is not of distant worlds, but of the human heart. Our capacity for love, for sacrifice, for believing in each other, that is what will carry us to the stars. If this journey through time, space, and the depths of human connection has moved you, remember to share this documentary with others who might find inspiration in humanity's greatest adventure. Subscribe to continue following the ongoing story of our expansion into the cosmos, as we build upon the legacy of those who dared to look beyond the horizon. The Year of Pluto continues, and with each passing year, we write new chapters in humanity's endless quest to understand our place among the stars.